Hey guys, so on my update on my model Fiona GF8643, I had a comment from the username honey32483. She says, I just subscribed to your channel. I know what you're going through. I'm only 29 years old and I've been losing my hair for about 3 years now. I'm still going through it. I still cry about it. I don't know how to live without my hair. How do you do it? So this comment prompted me to do a video response. Because yeah, I could be like, blah, 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 blah. I did write, it's tough. It's definitely been a process. Which is true. With any kind of loss, it's a process. You always assume that there's indefinite things in life. Death, taxes, and for some reason hair was on that list as well for me. I always assumed I'd have hair, and I guess I kind of took it for granted that it'd always be there. When I was in high school, I just tortured it to death. And then when I was in my 20s, I started losing it. I didn't know why. I didn't know what caused it. I wasn't sure, but at the time, I had insurance, and I was going to try as hard as I could to get it back. So I went to my normal doctor, who put me on thyroid medicine. Told me I had a thyroid condition, which I think I do, because I have a lot of symptoms of it, the cold hands and the lethargy, fatigue, and so that didn't help. Here I am, I'm on it for months and months, and it's just not helping. It's just getting worse, and I'm getting depressed, and I'm losing my hair, and another part of losing your hair is you might feel a certain way, but then when you look in the mirror, that image doesn't reflect that anymore. I didn't feel like who I saw when I looked in the mirror anymore was a representation of me. And, well, when you're losing your hair, everybody's going to assume that you're sick. And while now, years ago, you could have never told me I would have my hair this short and be saying that I needed a haircut. And I would get, like, when we went for my birthday, we went swimming in the pool. I didn't wear a hat. I didn't wear a wig. I just went out like this. Because at work, I don't feel like I handle so many people a day that I just wear a wig. Because I don't feel like having to explain multiple times what has happened to me. And that no, I'm not sick. And I don't really know why I lost it. And no, I don't really know if it'll ever come back. But I've given up on the fact that it will come back. So I go to the pool and I have nothing on my head. Even when we go to the Dells, I wear a hat because of the sun. But this one's inside. Because it's my opinion that I have lost my hair yet. And I'm not a super religious person. But God made me this way. And I'm supposed to get something from this, and so I feel like I'm not just my hair. My hair was nice when I had it, but it doesn't define me and who I am. But getting there, it was a hard road. And when I went to swim, there were kids there, and they stared at me, and there were moms there, and they stared at me, and the dad was there, and he stared at me. But I really don't care. If you have a problem with the fact that I don't have any hair, that's your problem. That's not my problem because I've moved on. me not having hair is almost a non-factor now. It's just the way that it is. Like my mom was like, well, I got stuff for my head from the dermatologist. I'm going to give it to you. And I told her, I was like, I've given up on my hair, and I think that you should too. It's not coming back. It's just not. And who knows why else. My dad's bald. Everybody on my dad's side is bald. All the men anyway. So who knows? Who knows? There's no explanation to these things. Not that I could find. And it's not that I didn't try. I saw 2 different primary care physicians. I saw 3 dermatologists. I saw an endocrinologist. And what they all told me was that I was fine. So if I'm fine, why am I losing my hair? Well, we don't know. Well, you just had your gallbladder out a year ago. Just hang in there. It'll come back. Well, now it's been 4 or 5 years. When I first started losing my hair, I didn't know what I was going to do. And it was depressing. How do you date people when you have no hair? Or at first, I was really blonde when I started losing my hair, so I would just, you can hide it. Just cut your hair short, just brush it to the side. There's things that you can do. But there's nothing like riding in the back of a car and looking in the rearview mirror and seeing the top of your head, and you can see the skin, and you've never been able to see it before. And that's when I knew that I had that this was going to be life changing. I always wore my hair like my actual profile picture, brushed to the side, because I could always take the hair from the sides and pull it over and hide the top. But if it's sunny out, you can't hide the top. You can see your skin. And to me, that gets just as many looks as being like this. You get just as many looks as when you have short hair or no hair. Because even if you have thin hair and you're trying to hide it, people think you're sick, think there's something wrong with you, and there might be nothing wrong with you. And that was the most frustrating part for me, is everybody's telling me that I'm fine. Well, if I'm fine, I wouldn't be losing my hair. If everything was okay, this wouldn't be happening. So something is not okay here. So that was very frustrating. So yeah, say that. I would say when it first started, probably the first 2 or 3 years, I really tried to, try to brush it off to the side. And then, I used to love getting my hair cut. That was gone. Nobody wants to cut your hair when you don't have any. How do you hide that? You get the best haircut in the world, and it will not hide that. So then I didn't want to get my hair cut anymore. I didn't want to get my hair cut because it was just depressing, and when I looked in the mirror, I could see I have less hair, I could see my skin, I could see that no matter how I got it cut, it wasn't going to work. So then I went through a point, which was I want to say 1 or 2 years. I mean, this hair loss has been going on for a long time. I've been wearing wigs for a year now. So for 1 or 2 years, I just didn't care. And the thing is, my hair didn't grow past here. So it didn't matter if I didn't care. I could grow it all I wanted. It always stopped right here. It wouldn't get any longer. There's no point in cutting it super short because it doesn't. In my opinion, it looks even worse. If you take what I used to say, if I get my 5 hairs cut, I get them cut really short, they're gonna look like 5 hairs, you know. And when you cut my hair, don't volumize me to the point where my hair hits the top of the car door, because I still look like I'm bald, you know. So there was a lot of depression. There was a lot of questioning, why would this happen to me? There was, you have problems with social relationships because you're afraid that people are going to judge you, in the beginning. It's just, it's rough. You're afraid that people are going to judge you based on how you look, because when it comes right down to it, people judge you based on how you look. So, even when I met Ryan, I was like, how's he going to think of me when I don't even have hair, you know? So, then I met Ryan, and things were good. I get somebody that loves me and accepts me. I'm still losing my hair. My hair's still thinning out. He says I look fine. Mom says I look fine. But I feel like I don't look fine. I feel like I don't look like myself. I feel like I'm not a representation of who I used to be and who I feel like I am now. And I know from the fact that people stare at me that I am not fine. I do not look fine. So last year, I decided, I'm gonna start wearing wigs. What the hell? What the hell? God created man, man created wigs. Hair too, God created wigs. I'm gonna start wearing wigs, because why should I be walking around miserable? Why should I feel like I'm less of a person? Why should I feel like I'm not a woman because I don't have hair? Bullshit. I'm gonna find me a wig. So I went to the wig shop, and the lady, I have a video about this, was like, why are you here? I have no hair, that's why I'm here. I sit down in the chair, I piss her off, blah blah blah. She tells me what color she thinks I can wear and can't wear, and really at the end of the day, the wigs that you are comfortable in is all based on how you feel, not how that person is telling you feel. When you wear a wig and you know it's for you, you don't need somebody to tell you that this is who you are, because you know who you are. You know it. So that was really good. I didn't buy a wig there because I couldn't afford one. Honestly, they were like $300-400, and I wasn't spending that much. So I turned to YouTube, which I have never used YouTube before, honestly. And there was Tanuki like, wear your wigs, who gives a damn? And multi-fluffed stuff was on here, and Liz for Kids Wears Wigs was on here, and Creamy Gumbo's on here, Does Chai's on here. I watched Darlene's videos, and through watching the videos, I realized that I didn't have to spend more than I have, because I'm a student. And at the time I didn't have a job, so here I am, I'm a student, I'm on unemployment, or, right now, making minimum wage. And here are these people wearing wigs that don't cost hundreds of dollars, and they look great on them. So why can't I do that? So I ordered them, and I'm just like really apprehensive. And yeah, it is expensive when you start out wearing wigs, because you don't know what you're gonna like. You're like, oh, maybe I'll try the hairstyles I used to wear. So that's always a good point to start out at. Start it off with something you're comfortable with. that's kind of where I started. And then it evolved from there. And now I'm wearing like the Fiona. And when I first started wearing wigs, I was worried that somebody was going to be like, that's a wig. I know you're wearing a wig. You know, I know that you're trying to pretend like you have hair and you don't. And honestly, that hasn't happened. I've had somebody ask me where I got my wig, but I have never, to this day, had somebody, use a judging tone. So, would I say wigs have improved my life? Yes. Yes, I would. I would say that they definitely have. And when I did start wearing them, I was afraid people would say you're wearing a wig. But then, after about a month, I was like, to hell with it. One day I'd have long hair, one day I'd have short hair. I do the same with work. If I don't feel like wearing long hair, I don't wear long hair. I'll throw my short hair on. I don't care. But it is a process to get to that point where you're like, I'm comfortable with the fact that this is the way that I am. And if this is the way that you are, it's okay. You know, if your hair isn't going to come back, it's okay. You are not your hair. Your hair is not you. And, you can have a great life. I mean, you don't feel like you have to live without. There are tons of great wigs out there. Or maybe you'll just be somebody that's like, to hell with it. I'm not wearing hair at all. And that is fine. But it's a process to get comfortable with the fact that you're not going to be who you were before. And like, I'll never look the way I did before when I had hair. And that's fine. I'll never be able to just go get a haircut. And that's okay. I'll never be able to dye my hair again. Perfectly fine with me. I care less. But getting to that point of acceptance is the hardest part. And I would say it's almost like a grieving process because you do start out with anger. You start out with that denial. And you start out, if your hair is really gone for good, you do start out with that. Like, why did this happen to me? What, haven't I paid enough? Isn't life stressful enough? Now I have to lose my hair. What in the hell? And it is a grieving process because your hair is part of you. And you don't realize it till you lose it. What a big part of our identities it is to us, especially women. It is a big part of our personal identities. And maybe it shouldn't be, but, there, other than here, you don't see people going, you lost your hair, it's alright. It's okay. And it is alright. It is okay. If you need advice, if you need a hand, there's people that will help you. In whether you wear wigs or whether you don't, we're all just humans. We all just have to accept each other at face value. And it's a shame that people will judge you because you don't have hair or, I don't feel like I could wear my hair like this to work. I just don't. One, I wouldn't be comfortable, and I feel like people are judging me all day. And that's just more stress that I don't want to have to deal with. And that's a part of life, you know. But you have to get to a point where you are alright with who you are and how this has turned out to be, even though I do agree it is not fair. It is not fair for a woman to lose her hair and that run. It's not right. It's not fair. And if I had any control over it, it wouldn't happen. But there are women that have hair that wear wigs. because they like to change their hairstyle all the time. And that's something else you need to keep in mind, that you are not the only person out there wearing wigs, and people wear wigs that are perfectly fine. So wigs aren't just for people that have problems with their hair. And yeah, and everybody wears wigs. Just about everybody wears wigs anyway. You know, and extensions and wigs, they're not very far apart from one another. Why is it okay to put extensions in your hair but not wear a wig? I mean, that's a little hypocritical, don't you think? So, I saw that comment from Honey32483, and I felt the need to respond. And I really hope that this video has helped you, or anybody else that's watching this and doesn't have hair or is going through the process of losing their hair. It's very difficult. And, part of you feels like it's just hair, just let it go. But it's part of who we are. In society, this is ingrained in us since we're little. It's part of our personal identity. So there's grieving that's going to take place with this tremendous loss. Yeah, it doesn't leave you physically hurt or physically ill, but it is something that you should stop and take notice. So I hope this video helped you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. You guys have a great day. Bye.